Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you all are doing great. Recently, I finished working on my portfolio and finally launched it. And thank you so much for all the support that you showed in my portfolio. Thank you so much. And some of you are asking about some animations, some micro interactions that I added on my website. One of it was the project hover animation. So I'm going to recreate that animation in this video. So whenever just I hover the project animation, it kind of zooms in and border radius kind of changes. And then when I move my mouse, it kind of adds a parallax effect to it. So we are going to recreate this animation using frame of motion. Initially, when I started, I used GSAP in it, but we are going to recreate it using frame of motion because it's more of a like React way. That's why. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's go. Welcome back. So I'll run npx create next app at the rate latest dot to create a new next app and no to TypeScript and yes, you can see all the commands that I run. I just tapped enter and it's going to create a new next application for us. Let me just clean it up a bit. So inside global CSS, I don't want all of this. Inside layout, I don't want the font this thing as well. Inside page fc home npm run devs to run the server. Let's open it in my browser. So you can see it's a simple Next.js website. Yeah, let me just open my portfolio. By the way, if you haven't visited the website already, you should take a look. You can get the link in the pinned comment or in description, or you can just visit www.gobinda-das-dev. So yeah, so this is the animation I was talking about. So when I move my mouse, it adds a parallax effect, and when I hover, the border radius changes and it scales. So let's create this animation. Hide screen with full BG late 900. Okay, to get the black background, and then let's add a div here. Class height 40 viewport height. I'm just going to create it inside the pages. You can obviously create a new component for that, but this is just a tutorial. So yeah, aspect ratio, let's make it 14:12. BG red 500, rounded 3 XL maybe. Yeah, this looks cool. Let's just center it. Grid less item center. So yeah, maybe 10. Yeah, this looks cool. Okay, so I can add some images here. Let me download one image from Unsplash. This one looks cool. Copy image. Yeah, paste it here. Image for now. So image, I'm going to use image component. And next, you can use simple image as well. So src, it's slash image dot png and alt demo image with 1920, right, 1080. Yeah, so yes, we have our image here. So size full, object cover, and let's add overflow hidden. That way I can get the rounded border radius here. So yeah, this looks cool. Now the first thing I'm going to do is let's just add cursor pointer as well. Cursor pointer. Hmm. Let's install frame of motion. So npm install motion, npm I motion. It will install frame of motion for us. Npm run dev. We have to make it a client component. Use client because we'll be using frame motion here. So import motion from motion slash react and make this component a motion component. Yeah. So whenever I hover, let's just also remove the background as well. Whenever I hover, this box should scale down. Yeah. So we can convert it to motion.div, and then we can use um, while hover. It's a gesture. While hover, I'll scale down to 0.95, and you can see while I hover, it scales down. But also, even the box is scaling down, the image should scale up. So let's just also scale the image. But there is one issue here. I can't just make motion.image because image is a Next.js component. It's not a native HTML semantic. So we have to wrap it inside another div here. So let's create another div, wrap it inside this and give it size full. Now we can make it a motion.div. Let me wrap it really quickly. While hover, I'll just scale it up 1.1. So you can see this just scales nicely. But I'm going to change the transition because this snappy animation doesn't look good. So let's just change transition, make it duration 0.5 and ease out maybe. Yeah, the box scales correctly. Now just change here. So it looks good. Or I can just make it 0.3, 0.2 maybe. Yeah, this looks good. Okay. Now the next thing is to move the container while I move my mouse. So for that I have to reference the container here. Const container useref null and reference the container. I have the thing I'm doing here is I'm going to get the mouse coordinates here. So use effect and let's just add create a function here const while on mouse move, and I'll get the event here. I can just log the e and add container current add event listener mouse move, and let's just add on mouse move here, on mouse move. Also let me just quickly clean it up as well. If container exists, then I'm going to just copy it from here. Yes, so instead of add event listener, it will be remove event listener. So what we are doing here is whenever I move my mouse over the container, it will just log the event. So I can just show you really quickly. So you can see whenever I'm moving my mouse here, I'm getting this mouse event. We want something that's 0 here and 1 right here. So if I just get and enter here and just out get out, let's just open it and I want something that's 0. So this is unuseful thing client X, but it's not useful for in our case because client X is relative to this page, the whole page. So let's just find something else. So we have layer X and layer Y, and consequently layer X is something that we want. So if I just control e dot layer X and refresh it, you can see when I enter it it's 0, it's somewhat 0, and then when I just move here it's somewhat 441 but not 1. 441, why it's 441? Because the width of the container is almost 441, that's why. So we can convert it to absolute value 0 to 1. So let me just do it really quickly. Const x equals e dot layer x, same const y equals e dot layer y. So I'm just saving this variable into something. So let me just log the x value. Also, now let's just divide it with its width, this container's width. That way we'll get a uh, absolute value. So yeah, so const we'll get width and also the height, because we have to divide the divide the layer dot y with the height. So container dot current dot get bounding client rect. So this container dot current get bounding client rect, what this does is, if I just show you, you can see I'm getting a DOM rect and it has all the properties we need: bottom, height, left, and all the properties. We only need height and width. So I'm just destructuring height and width here. Yes. Now let me just uh, divide this with first x will be divided by width and y will be divided by height. No question there. So if I just show you now, it's zero, it's almost zero here, which it was previously. And when I just enter here and leave here, you can see it's almost 1. It's 0.994, which is almost 1. So yeah, so thus x and y now varies from 0 to 1. But there is one issue here. We want it to stay center when I am at the center. We want it to move to left when I'm at left. We want it to move to right when my cursor is at right. So for that we need some value that is 0 here left in the left corner. Sorry, that is -1 here and 0 at the center and 1 at the right of the container. So for that, because this value varies from 0 to 1, we can make it vary from -1 to 1. How is that? So just see what I'm doing here. So I can just multiply it with 2. So it will now vary from 0 to 2. And if I just subtract 1 from it, it will vary from -1 to 1. How? If I multiply 2, it will vary from 0 to 2, and if I subtract 1, it will vary from -1 to 1. Hope you understand. So I'm just going to do same for the y as well. So if I just log x, you can see I'm getting almost -1 here, and I'm getting almost 1 here, 0.996, which is almost 1. Yeah, so we got the value. Now let me create some motion values here. Const mouse x. So I'll use motion value, and it will be 0 initially, and another motion value for y. So I can just animate those values. So mouse animate, I can use animate function by frame motion, and then animate mouse.x. Mouse.x will become x, and we can pass an object here. It will have all the configuration. So let's just put duration 0.5 is back out. I found back out more good in this case. So let me just update it as well. So for mouse x will become x, and mouse s will animate to x, mouse y will animate to y. So if I just add style in the container, and x will be this mouse x and y will be this mouse y, you can see there is a subtle movement. You can see there is a subtle movement when I move my mouse, but it's very less, because this mouse x and mouse y varies from -1 to 1, but we need some bigger value for this one. So I'm just going to create a new variable for which will hold the amplitude of what it will move. So let me create a amplitude value. So I'm going to use strength. Strength. It will be, let's just add 10 pixels. It will move 10 pixels for now. Let me just add 100 pixel so that we can see it clearly. So I'm going to um, remake this value. So I'm going to make const container x. I'm going to use this value and remap it so that it will become a bigger value. So I'm going to use transform for that and add mouse x. First of all, it takes two arrays and transforms mouse x. So what it does is it will take two values. First one is where the boundary of mouse x. So this value varies from -1 to 1. So we can add -1 from 1. And next is the array that will define how much it will vary, this container x. So we want it to vary from minus strength to strength. So it will vary from -100 to 100. So if I just, instead of mouse x, if I just add container x, okay, container x, you can see it's moving almost 100, almost 100 pixels. Yeah. Now let just do it for y as well. So const, it will become container y, and we'll use mouse y. Same as well. Let's use same values. So update here as well, container y. You can see it's following my mouse, but there is one issue here. If I leave, it should move to its original position. If I just show in my portfolio, it moves to original position when I leave my mouse. So let's just do that as well. So another function, let's just create another function here, const on mouse leave, it will be, and we can animate it again. So when I mouse leave, x and y should become 0. So animate mouse x to 0, mouse y to 0. Yes. So let's add another here, mouse leave, and I'm going to add one here as well. Okay, sorry, it will be on mouse leave. It will be on mouse leave. Instead of add, it will be remove event listener. So yeah, I'm just creating another function which will take care of when I just leave my mouse. So if I just leave my mouse, you can see it's moving to its original position, 0. Yes. Another thing I forgot, I guess, when I enter my mouse, the border radius should also change. So let me just decrease the value strength here. So let's make 30 for now. Yeah. You can see this thing, the border radius is not changing. That's why it's not looking good. You can see in my portfolio, when I just enter, the border radius also changes. So for that, we have to pass something here. So in style, I'm going to add border radius here. Let's make 30 is the default. Let's just also remove this class as well. And 30 is the default border radius. And while I hover, the border radius should become 10. Let's see. Yeah, 10 doesn't look that good. 15 maybe. Yeah, this looks good. Another thing you can notice that the image also moves. The image moves in opposite direction. The container moves with the mouse, but the image moves in opposite direction. But in our case, it's not moving. So let me also create new variables for x and y for the images. So I can just copy this, or we can just revise what we did for this one. So I'm going to create const image x, sorry, image x equals use transform. I'm going to use mouse X, and let it varies from -1 to 1. We want image X to vary from minus strength, sorry, strength. We want it opposite, str, strength to minus strength. Same for the Y, mouse Y. Okay, now here let's just add a style. We'll add X as image X, Y as image Y. So if I just refresh, you can see the image is looks like that image is not moving. Why is that? Because it's moving in opposite direction with the same amount. That's why. So we can do something like we can multiply it with 1.5. That way it will move a little more than the container. So 1.5. Because if you see in my portfolio, it moves opposite direction, but little more than what the container is moving, how much the container is moving. So yeah, it looks good. But there is one issue here. You can see this border, this looks like it's just overlapping. It's just getting out of the container. So if I just add bg red 500, you can see this image is moving a lot. That's why it doesn't look good. The issue is that we have to scale the image a little more. So I want initially the scale should be 125, and then it will scale up to 1.1 when I hover. So it scales, sorry, it will scale into 1. Okay, I guess. Yeah, the image scales and it nicely fits the object. Yeah. Also, let's just remove the background now. We don't need it. Yeah, this looks cool. So that is it. That's all for this one. By the way, there is one issue here. You can see, can you see the issue? Let me just zoom it so that you can see it. You can see there are some lines here because of the browser is getting issues with rendering the images position. So I'm going to add will change transform here. That way it will know that it's going to move. It the X and Y are going to change. It will be ready for that. So the issue is not now. It looks really cool. So that is it. That's all for in this one. See you in the next one. Peace.